July is the hottest month of the year here, but not only my garden is surviving the heat, it is also rewarding my hard work with a ton of delicious fruits and vegetables. Let me show you what is there to harvest. Last week I posted my July flower garden tour. If you haven't seen it yet, click on the link below in the description box. And today I'll take you on my vegetable garden tour and show you what's growing in my garden, what fruits and vegetables are ready to be picked, and what I am planning to cook with them. There is a lot of different things growing, so let's start over here. This is my sweet potato growing, starting to crawl out of my raised beds, and I'm already harvesting leaves and using them in the salads. For me, it's like a replacement of spinach. Spinach doesn't grow when it's really hot, and sweet potato leaves can be used instead of spinach. And over here I have my peppers. This one is a banana pepper, and you can see it's growing really fast. I am harvesting almost every day, and it keeps giving me more and more fruit. And these are my pepperoncini, which I am planning to pickle once I get a lot of them. And pepperoncini can be used green, unripe, or you can wait until they get red. And these are hot serrano peppers. They are a bit spicy. And here is my bell pepper. This is the green variety. I also have some colorful peppers growing in my garden. My favorite way of using bell peppers is to stuff them. Here's some more serrano peppers. And this is one of those colorful varieties I was talking about. I love the deep purple color of this bell pepper. It's almost black, kind of looks like an eggplant. I hope I will get a lot of these peppers later this month and the next one, because I am planning on freezing some of these peppers so I can use them in my winter cooking. Remember, I made some hanging baskets with pansy flowers and tomatoes. I will post that video in the description as well. Well, these are the tomatoes. They turned out great. They are actually producing some fruit, and I think this one in particular is purple bumblebee. I planted a ton of tomatoes this year, I think 7 varieties, and they are growing really well and producing a lot of fruit. You can see here some of them are starting to get ripe. So over here I have a yellow pear variety, and they look so cute, really like a miniature pears. There is also more peppers over here. These are chili peppers, which are light green for now, but will be slowly turning red. And of course I have a lot of cucumbers growing and some more peppers, and I'll show you them in a bit, but I want to show you again my tomatoes from the other side. You can see how loaded with fruit they are. And I have already picked some ripe tomatoes from here, and I tasted them, and they are delicious. I love the taste of these yellow pear. They are slightly sweet, not as sweet as cherry tomatoes. Cherry tomatoes that I'm growing this year are a super sweet variety, that's the name of it, and they are definitely very sweet. I am pleased with the taste, and I'm planning to grow them again next year. Now over here in front of my cucumbers I have some more peppers, and this one is poblano pepper. poblano is great in cooking when you want that peppery flavor, but not spicy. Now let's take a look at my cucumbers. So these I've started in pots from seed, and then I transplanted them into this bed after I harvested my potatoes and spinach, and they really took off and started producing a lot of baby cucumbers. Even though I made for them a DIY trellis using garden stakes and rope, but they are climbing on my tomatoes. They want to be friends, I guess. But that's okay. I like when garden plants are supporting each other, I would say. This variety of tomatoes is called San Marzano, and look at these plum-shaped tomatoes. I love using these in sauces. They are very juicy and flavorful, and of course more cherry tomatoes, because there is never enough cherry tomatoes. I like snacking on them and adding to salads. And here are some more cucumbers. This one is called Garden Giant, and I think there is one giant. Look at that, it's really long. And this is a national pickling variety, which is good to use in salads, but of course I'll pickle them when I get a lot. My broccoli had finally formed heads, and I had started harvesting already, and this one is still small, so I'll give it another week. But there is also more broccoli, and I hope this extreme heat we're having right now will not stunt the growth. I planted them on the north side of my garden in the shade because I know they don't really like the heat. And this is one of the two last white cabbages I have in my garden. This is a small head cabbage called Pixie, and you can see this tomato can't wait for the cabbage to get out of there so it can take its space. And here's another tomato called Old German. It's a large slicing tomato, yellow by color, and I've never tasted it, so I cannot wait for it to ripen. I hope with all this heat we're receiving, it will be very soon. I like growing my tomatoes with carrots. They like the company of each other, and these carrots I have been harvesting already for weeks, and slowly we're eating them up. Now let's take a look at these tomatoes over here in the shade. I wasn't sure if they're going to start ripening because they don't receive as much light as the other ones, but as you can see, there is enough light for them. And they have grown so much since last month. They are taller than the fence already and loaded with fruit as well. So I'm really happy I have decided to plant them here. This was a dead space in my garden anyway. So if you have some places in your garden that you're not able to grow in the ground, but there is room for a few containers, then put those containers in there and plant some tomatoes or any other fruit or vegetable. It's great to utilize every inch of the yard we have. Now let me show you something I have never grown before. This is my first year trying walking stick kale. There is one over there and the other one is over here, and I have a couple more here and there. I planted them next to the fence because I know they can get really tall, and it's already almost as tall as the fence, and it's only July. I am hoping it will get as big as they say. I already tasted the leaves. They taste just as regular kale, and as you can see, there is a few sunchokes and a ton of fennel. they are taking over of my perennial bed over here. But the star of this side of my garden is golden raspberry. It's so delicious. You guys have to try it. For me, it's so much better than regular red raspberry. Kids love it. I often find my daughters just browsing through this jungle over here and looking for these delicious fruit. It grows very fast, as all raspberries do. I planted, I think, one a couple of years ago, and there is already around 10 branches growing. So I'm very happy for that, because I really want to preserve it, maybe freeze it or make a jam out of these raspberries. I've made some raspberry jelly from store-bought or farm-picked red raspberries, but I've never preserved these golden raspberries, and I can't wait for it to spread in my garden and provide me with a ton of fruit so I can start preserving it. Now let's take a look at my eggplants. This variety is called Black Beauty, and I have few of these. They don't look black to me, just dark purple, but that's how they are. And this variety is called Rosa Bianca. They're supposed to be pinkish, purplish in color. And I'm very excited because I love eggplants a lot. And when I actually harvest them, I will definitely share some of my favorite recipes. And another experiment I did earlier this year is to let those tomato plants that were extra seedlings just grow in nursery pots, and I was curious if they will survive in here, and they did. You can see those San Marzanos are growing here perfectly, and purple bumblebee just growing here under the grapevines. Just 3 weeks ago I planted these beans over here, and they have already gotten so big, starting to bloom, and I suppose we'll have some beans soon. This is a ground cherry having some blooms as well, and as you can see, I have a mixture of everything over here: peppers, Swiss chard, celery, beans, beets, a little bit of everything. And look at this happy celery. The stalks are just getting so plump that I'm slowly harvesting it. This garden bed is a great example of interplanting. As you can see, I have sweet potato vines crawling out from the sides of the bed, and there are some green beans growing upwards, and beets. Those are golden beets growing down because they are root vegetable. I use interplanting method in every container and raised bed I have. This is Swiss chard growing here. I like the red color of the stems. It looks so attractive. And there is another bell pepper over here. This one is actually ready to harvest. And these are my carrots. And over there on that side are beets. I'm sure I had missed on some of the veggies growing, but if I wanted to show them all, this would be an hour long. Thank you for watching. See you next time.